1 in 5 women experience a sexual assault during their time in college. Others, including men and people who identify as transgender, also experience sexual violence. The crimes are most often perpetrated by a person that the victim knows, and the victim often does not report what happens. Prevention programs can change attitudes, behaviors, and our culture. Most students, including male students, are not perpetrators, but our goal is to empower each and every one of you to become an ally, ready to step in when someone is in trouble. If we all take responsibility for stepping in, then we all become part of the solution.
So one night, me and my friend Claire, she was like my partner in crime, we were going to go out to this one guy's house, and at the last minute she backs out. But I'm dressed and it's like midnight and I just want to go out somewhere. So I meet up with them down the street and we walk back to Jack's house, and it's just Jack and his 2 other friends. And first thing he does is pull out a big bottle of rum, and someone's like, let's do shots. And, you know, at this point I'm thinking like, oh, I could do shots, like, I can keep up with them. So at that point, everything was very like blurry, and the next thing I remember is seeing him over me, on top of me. And my shirt was off, and he was pulling down my underwear, putting his fingers inside me, and I just remember like not feeling anything. I couldn't feel anything at all. I remember looking up at him and saying, I distinctly remember saying, I don't want to do this. And he looked down at me and said, just finish what you started. And I don't remember anything after that until I was halfway home.
He had to know on some level that what he was doing wasn't okay. But, like, do you have any idea how much this has hurt me and affected me? And then I feel so pathetic saying that, because why would he give a fuck about how much it hurt me? They don't care about me. I'm just another person. I'm another girl to use and throw away.
Myth. Victims provoke sexual assaults when they dress provocatively or act in a promiscuous manner. Fact. Rape and sexual violence are crimes of violence and control that stem from a person's determination to exercise power over another. Neither provocative dress or promiscuous behaviors are invitations for unwanted sexual activity. Forcing someone to engage in unwanted sexual activity is sexual assault. Myth. If a person goes to someone's room or house, they assume the risk of sexual assault. If something happens later, they can't claim sexual assault because they should have known not to go to those places. Fact. Even if a person went voluntarily to someone's room or home and consented to engage in some sexual activity, it does not serve as a blanket consent for all sexual activity. When someone says no or stop, that means stop. Sexual activity forced upon another without valid consent is sexual assault.
I don't remember half of the night, but what I do remember kind of stinks, you know. I don't know, I kind of come in at the bad parts, which you'd hope to forget. He brought me into the room. I don't remember how anything started, but I just remember him kind of like hurting me, and like he got active, and he just kind of like...
You said he pushed your head against the wall?
Right. He was just like holding me down like by my neck was not enjoyable whatsoever. Like, I didn't want it to happen in the first place, but once it was happening, it was just kind of, like, painful. I remember saying, just stop. And he's like, I told you it was going to hurt. And he just kept going. And, like, right.
An asshole.
Well, yeah. I think he knew that, though. I think that's what his goal was. I think he knew exactly what he was doing to me the whole time. I remember ending it, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Just take me home. So he walked me home, and I just remember him saying, oh, Leslie, always a good time. And then he left. And I felt like crap afterwards. Felt like I did something wrong, which I did by going out by myself. I should have had somebody there with me. Somebody to keep an eye out for me. And the one thing I only think of when I see him is he still doing this to people? And I feel like that's what you were saying before about what happened to you. It's like, I don't want him to keep doing this to people. It's not even about me at this point. It's not about you. It's about the fact that he's going to affect other people. He's going to keep doing this, and he obviously doesn't care.
Yeah.
But those are the people you got to reach out to and tell them they're wrong. Honestly, until I talked to you about it, I never even saw it as rape. I saw it as something that I hated that happened and that I wasn't really happy about. And I was definitely ashamed about it. I was embarrassed. I didn't tell anybody before you for a reason because I just didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel like it had to be told. It's such a hush-hush thing most of the time. So I feel like this helped a lot.
Myth. It's not sexual violence if it happens after drinking or taking drugs. Fact. Being under the influence of alcohol or drugs is not an invitation for sexual activity. A person under the influence does not cause others to assault them. Others choose to take advantage of a situation and sexually assault the person because they are in a vulnerable position. A person who is incapacitated due to the influence of alcohol or drugs is not able to consent to sexual activity. Myth. A person who has really been sexually assaulted will be hysterical. Fact. A person who experiences sexual violence can exhibit a spectrum of responses to the assault, which can include calm, hysteria, withdrawal, anxiety, anger, apathy, denial, and shock. Being sexually assaulted is a very traumatic experience. Reaction to the assault and the length of time needed to process through the experience vary with each person. There is no right way to react to being sexually assaulted. Assumptions about the way a victim should act may be detrimental to the victim because each victim copes in a different way. Most people don't realize that there is something that they can do to help prevent sexual violence from occurring. Bystander intervention is a sexual assault prevention strategy that encourages witnesses to take safe action when they see a situation that might lead to sexual assault and to support victims after an incident. But first, we all need to feel a responsibility to intervene. This responsibility is what provides the motivation to act. You may ask, why should I feel responsible for another student, especially if I don't know them? The answer is that we are all Aztecs and we have a responsibility for keeping each other safe.
If you're looking at yourself 3 years later and you say, hey, I was at this party and I saw this girl, getting taken advantage of, but I didn't say anything because I wanted to fit in with the people that I was around, then, it's pretty upsetting that you didn't do anything to help that person out.
Another important element of bystander intervention is understanding how to intervene. There are a variety of ways to intervene. Some of them are direct and some are less obvious. For example, make up an excuse to get the person out of a potentially dangerous situation. Let a friend or coworker know that the person's action may lead to serious consequences. Never leave a vulnerable person's side, despite the efforts of someone to get the person alone or away from you. Use a group of friends to remind someone who's behaving inappropriately that their behavior should be respectful. Take steps to curb someone's use of alcohol before problems occur. Call the authorities when the situation warrants. And understand how to safely intervene. Safety is paramount in bystander intervention. Usually, intervening in a group is safer than intervening individually. Also, choosing a method of intervention that de-escalates the situation is safer than attempting a confrontation. However, there is no single rule that can account for every situation. Individuals must use good judgment and always put safety first.